What's up guys, Julian here today. I'm going to be talking to you about how to structure a hard techno track. To go along with this video, I just dropped a new template. The link is right at the top of the description. This is what you're looking at and what you also heard in the intro of the video. So, with this template, you get a full track template, fully arranged. Everything is in here, the kick, the drums, the percussion, the synths, all that is available right at the top of the description for just $10. This is a really great value. You get a really solid template. Plus, it's going to help keep me going, so I can keep bringing you guys new videos every single day. I don't make a whole lot just off of YouTube alone, but with these different sample packs and templates, I'm able to keep bringing you guys new videos and showing you new stuff that isn't out there. That sounds better than anything else out there on the market. So yeah, thank you so much for all the support, guys. Every little bit helps. And let's dive in. So, we're on 140 BPM. And I'll just talk to you about kind of like the overall prevailing idea here. So, typically, the way I try to view the arrangement of a track like this is you're going to start with, you're going to have three parts essentially. So you have A, which is basically going to be like all through the intro here. And then you have, once you get to about here, that's going to be B. And actually, I think we're going to split this into four parts. So, we're going to have A right at the beginning. Then we get up to here where this is kind of like still intro, but it's like the main, still like all the energy is there. Then over here is going to be C. Right? So this is going to be the break, the kick is kind of disappearing. We're kind of like trying to drop down from A and B here. Like we're trying to get all the way up to about like here, and then that's where, you're going to get into C, just kind of by dropping the energy slowly over about 8 to 16 bars with automation and taking things in and out. Then, after we get through C, which is also going to include the break, where you can see, we transition everything, so we get to a certain point here now where it's just the synths even. And then finally over here, so this is going to all be D. So yeah, it's actually really like four parts. But essentially, this is how you want to think about it. And really, you could kind of say that this is like a fifth part, like E. Where you're really just dropping the energy down. But I think 4 is really all you need. But yeah, and the reason why splitting it into these four parts is going to make this a lot easier to understand is because essentially, you're just trying to use the elements of the track now to kind of tell this story, right? Like, we're going to start with like low energy at the beginning. Then just get it up to the part where everything's playing. That's all you need to do. Then kind of drop everything down, and then finally, kind of like the main, like, heaviest part. And I think this really helps keep it a little bit more structured, I should say, like, while you're working on it, because I think that if you don't do this, and you don't kind of have, like, a reference point like this, it's easy to kind of get lost in the arrangement. It's a very easy place to get lost while you're working on your track, and ultimately kind of just never finish the track, because a lot of times, like, arrangements are kind of tough, right? And it's hard to kind of understand that when you don't have like a template for what it should be. So I really recommend trying to keep this in mind. Like, this has saved me a lot of times. Just keep it simple: A, B, C, D, and there you go. So then the next thing that I want to talk about in here that I think is really important for the arrangement is going to be automation, because that's really the key of how you're going to transition this track. With these types of tracks, you can see we really don't have that many effects. Like at the bottom, it's really just like a few little sweeps in the break, this little thing, before it drops there. And other than that, there's not that many effects. So like if we want to do a transition from this all the way down to this, we're not really doing that with like a bunch of sweeps and snare rolls and claps and all that kind of stuff. It's really just taking the elements that you already have in the track and then using automation to essentially create transitions with those. Like here, for example, with the kick, we're using this high pass filter as well as a low pass filter at the same time. So kind of making that disappear. Or if you look at the lead here, you can see we have this washout. And see, we're using the lead to create like a little effect sound here. It's like, you know, you could either do it this way, or you could have like a psh. But this way, we're kind of taking the elements that we already have. And I think that's another thing you really want to keep in mind. Like when you're working on the transitions in a track like this, it's really not about having all those effects and all the background noises. You just want to try to use like the main basic elements and essentially use those to arrange it. You know, I think something people got to keep in mind is like, just because it's hard techno doesn't mean it should be hard to hear the elements in your track, right? Like, and when you try to add too many effects and too many like sweeps and noises and stuff, that's when these kinds of tracks tend to fall apart. Because really the secret to making like a heavy track is actually keeping it very simple, but just having a few elements that are really big and full sounding. So you'll notice like we really don't have that much. Like it's literally just like kick, you know, simple percussion, simple synths, just like 3 here. And that's really all that you need. So like, yeah, I really recommend that for the arrangement. Just using the actual elements that you already have rather than adding a bunch of extra effects. And now there are little effects, like you can see we have like this vocal atmosphere and the sweeps and stuff, but it's very sparse. And it's really just like, you know, like here the sweep is very impactful. When you use it right before the drop like that. But it's kind of like, you know, if we put that all throughout the track, like let's say that was here, and then here, and then here, and you're just constantly hearing these effects, it wouldn't be as powerful in this part. And that's another thing, is that like, if you use the effects less, each time you hear them, it's more impactful and more powerful. So, kind of a little secret there. And the other thing is you can kind of use like these little like this vocal atmosphere, for example. You know, with the effects that you do have, you kind of want to really distinguish like A and B and C and D, right? So you'll notice like with the vocal atmosphere, it's just this little sound. But basically in the intro here, you just get it all the way through, right? Like all the way through B, A, B, and C. It's just playing and then there's constant automation. But then here, you just get like these little like short bursts of it. And so again, that's kind of like distinguishing the parts there, because it would be very easy to just copy everything over from A and B and try to make D like just kind of more of that, you know? But this way it's taking something that you've already heard, and it really helps the arrangement because it distinguishes this part as being its own thing. So I recommend playing around with stuff. And again, that just goes back to what I was saying, like, rather than using a bunch of effects and different transitions and stuff like that, we're just using the elements we already have and kind of playing with how much you're hearing them, rather than, again, adding a bunch of different sounds that you don't really need in the background. And yeah, so that is going to be it for this one, guys. I just wanted to use this little template I've got here and give you guys some tips about arranging a track like this. So as usual, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything like that from this video. It's available right at the top of the description on my Bandcamp. Thank you very much to everybody who goes and grabs this. You get an awesome template, plus it really helps support me and keep me going so I can keep bringing you guys new videos about stuff like this that isn't out there on the internet yet. Thank you so much for all the support, guys, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.